Let's get it.
It's another absolutely gorgeous day here in the Carolinas, and I'm so glad to see it. As always, it's been a great day today. Back in the land of the living. Like I got a spider web on my camera. Look like it came off though. I hope everyone is well, like I said. Or if I didn't, I hope you are well and that you too are able to get out and enjoy this beautiful day. It's nice and warm today. Not too hot. However, at the same time, we are getting out later than we usually do. That appointment I had set for yesterday, well, you wouldn't know because I lost my whole recording yesterday because my SD card went bad. Have anybody ever experienced that? What an aggravating thing that was. Because what actually happened is I got my thought for the day down and my walk. And as soon as I went to take off on my ride, the camera started reading that the SD card, no SD card. Then I said, well, that's highly unusual. So I sat there and messed with it for like an hour to no avail. The SD card had went bad. And what's so aggravating about that is I bought that SD card in a set, in a pair, from Walmart, wouldn't you know it. And one of those SD cards in that set didn't work at all. But by the time I figured it out, it was too late to take it back. Because what I did, I used the one that worked. Oh boy, I'm just aggravated now thinking about it. And then when I called myself using the next one to actually store some recordings on, it didn't work. So I believe they sold me a bad set altogether. And the one that I used, I only used it for a couple of months. Pardon me, but all praises to the Most High. And like a good wife, my wife said, well, Robert, maybe it wasn't meant for you to put out that recording yesterday. I said, maybe so, baby, you're right. But at the same time, it's something aggravating when you put your heart and your soul into something and you can't get it or you can't release it like you want to. And then the Most High reminded me, he was like, well, you do remember to keep that audience of one, right? Oh boy. So I had two individuals in my corner letting me know it was all right. Don't worry about it. However, it's sad to say you don't like hearing certain stuff at certain times, I would say. Especially when you want to be a little aggravated and a little upset. And that's a sad thing. When you got the Most High comforting you, and then the woman that he gave you comforting you, and you still want to be a bit upset. Well, I can't even laugh right today. It was that kind of day. And no, I didn't even get all my bride in yesterday either. My new goal being 7 miles. I got 9 the day before, 9.34 I believe. Then the following day, which was yesterday, I got like 6.19 or something like that. And I was so aggravated, I said, forget it. We're going to just take it to the house. And see, that's how things get us if we don't stay in tune with the Most High's voice. And stay in tune with the mission on the whole. And that takes me right on into our thought for today. Let me turn around. I don't like looking down like that. We did that the other day. And I don't like that angle. All praises. We're not going to let little technical issues hamper us from doing what we're supposed to do. And just like I said, that takes me right on into my thought for today. Because as the Most High was telling me, and my wife was telling me, basically, it's not a big thing. Or don't sweat the small stuff. And see, my wife did come and make me feel a bit better, because she came with some understanding. She was like, well, I can understand that you put your heart and soul into each one of them recordings like you are, bearing your all, and really hoping that you can help at least 1 or 2 people. And then when you're not able to get it out, it's aggravating. And it's what I do. But what the Most High asked me earlier this morning, because what I had planned to do was just go back over our idea for yesterday. But he said, no, we're going to keep it moving. He said, what's your angle? I said, oh boy, what's my angle? He was like, yeah, what's your angle? What's your angle? And I had to really think about that for a minute. We're going to look up that word angle. And what it means by Webster's definition is the direction from which someone or something is approached. And angle can also mean the precise viewpoint from which something is observed or considered. The precise viewpoint from which something is observed or considered. So I think that's the best definition we can go with today. What's your viewpoint? What's your vantage point? I guess we would say. And it takes me back to the idea that we had a few weeks ago, if not a month or so ago. What's your motive? And see, that's what it's all about. See, as I was thinking, I was like, well, that's what basically gets us up in the morning motivated to go and do whatever we go and do. And at the same time, it gives us, how do I say that? It gives us directions most of the time into what we actually go and do. Our viewpoint from the situation. Our viewpoint on life. Or our viewpoint with our relationship with the Most High. That's the important question today. What is your angle with the Most High? Or some would say God. What's your angle with sweet Jesus? As some would say, or some would call him. Or the good Lord, as I was raised to call him. What's your angle? Let me peep at my notes real quick. And I wrote in my notes, know it or not, we all have an angle, a place where we're coming from and actually trying to get to. I think another word for it is motive. What's my motivation? That's one of the most important questions we can ask ourselves to start understanding who we really are and what we're really made of. Oh boy. And as I began to meditate on this idea, the Most High placed this script in my mind's eye and in my heart, which is Galatians 5:7. You were running the race well. You were running the race well. Who has interfered and prevented you from obeying the truth? Has interfered and prevented you from obeying the truth. Oh boy. Who done it? That's the question. Who did it? Who got your eyes off the motivating factor? Who got your eyes off the original motivating factor in your life? And the next script, I know that's in Revelations 2:4. And see, ain't nobody got time for no mess these days. And this is Yahusha addressing the churches. And I don't know who this is, Corinth. And we're not even going to look into it. We could just say we can put ourselves in that position. Because he gave all the churches that he was speaking to some words. Most of them has some, some improvements they need to make, to say the least. And I think it was just one that he didn't reprimand. That's the word. He didn't reprimand, but gave them croutons. But in Revelations 2:4, he said, "Yet I hold this against you. You have forsaken the love you had first." You have forsaken the love you had at first. This one says you have abandoned your first love. And that's the question today. Who have swayed you away from the Most High? And even now, the idea comes to me, who has swayed you away from your hunger for the truth? As we had just read in this text here. In Galatians 5:7. Who has interfered and prevented you from obeying the truth? Not only your hunger and desire for it, but from actually walking it out. Who's done it? What's your angle? And see, a lot of folks, when they speak about your angle, what's your angle, they're basically saying, what's your hustle? That's what we will be saying in the street. What's your hustle? What's the goal of you trying to hustle me? What are you trying to obtain from me? So I think, to use me as the example, I think we would say, who you really trying to please? Or what you trying to get? What's your outcome? What is the desired outcome that you want? See, and I say use me as an example. Just like with yesterday, I didn't get that recording done like I wanted. Let me turn this. That sun is right there. I don't want to mess up the angle. The angle, get it? But yeah, I was wanting the recording to go through like it should, but it didn't. So I was very disappointed in that. But even after the Most High reminded me that He's my audience of one, And then he used my wife to speak to me, saying, don't worry about it. Maybe it's not meant for you to put out. Maybe it just won't meant to be. And it couldn't have been meant to be if I lost the recording. And see, I guess what aggravated me so much was that I had gotten the recording down and secured. But then when I went and tried to record again, I lost everything. But it's all good. But that's the example. Who are you really trying to please? Am I more concerned about who's going to listen to these recordings and how it's going to affect them, or being obedient to the Father? See, that's my number one goal. Yes, I want to I want to be on the team. I want to be able to say, when I get in front of them, that I brought my works with me. Like one of the texts I just read over, I think it was yesterday or the day before in my study, but it was saying that your works are gonna follow you. And I said, well, how can somebody's work follow them? And in my mind's eye, I saw people following me. People following what I have said to them, that encourage them. That is basically the people that's gonna be like, you encourage me, I appreciate that, when we get to the kingdom. But see, am I more concerned about my works following me, or me following the Most High? Oh boy, oh boy. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's all about being obedient to the Most High's voice at all times. Now, does that mean that the Most High wasn't speaking to me yesterday while we was doing the recording? And you might ask, well, Robert, why didn't he tell you not to record? Because it won't take it. It won't gonna take it. Or why didn't he tell you to, Robert, go home and get that other SD card? Because this one is about to go bad. Why didn't I hear that discerning voice? Or why didn't he tell me that? And to that I would say, I don't know. And basically at this point, I don't care. But I do know what the text says. It says, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Most High delivered them out of them all. But see, the whole point is you got to be walking with him. Like I'm saying a lot more lately, you got to stay in that secret place with him, lining up with him and listening to his voice and doing what he tell you to do. And see, I don't need no extra. I don't need that no more. See, like one of the old songs we used to sing back then in church. If he don't do nothing else for me, he's done enough. And see, I know for a fact that he raised me from the dead. I know I was a goner when I had that stroke. Then had to have a brain surgery to remove blood clots. Then had to have an open heart surgery because I had an infected heart valve. Then I had to have 3 major surgeries on my left leg, fishing out blood clots. And after one of them, which took like 6 hours, the doctor come to me with a tray with 3 long stringy things looking like them nightcrawler fishing worms. And said that's what was in your leg, in your arteries, stopping up your blood flow. And then finally having to have 3 toes amputated. And having to walk with a permanent limp the rest of my life. Just to remind me, see, he could have had it where I didn't have no effects. Just like from the brain, the blood clot to the brain, I could have had more bodily damage because of that, which the doctors so kindly reminded me of, or told me. And at one time, the doctor wanted to amputate my leg right above the knee. But see, the Most High didn't see fit to do that. And see, a lot of times, I've gotten so smooth with my limp, folks think it's my pimp. And see, I have to laugh about these things because it does bring me back to reality. And it's a strong reminder that I can't never get outside of who he's made me to be or who he's called me to be. I can't never waver, that's the word. My angle has always got to turn back to him. Just like with Yahushua, he always pointed back to the Most High. So my life has to always point back to him, no matter what's going on. It's gonna be okay. And I got to say the Most High. I got to say Yahuwah. I've got to say Yahushua. Because they're the ones that got me off that cold bed. Or like folks say, that cold operating table. And I say that, just like he told me when we was in the hospital, and I didn't complain. I don't think I complained, I was just saying, I was praying. I said, Father, these things, they keep coming up with stuff. He said, and if you notice, every time they come up, every time something comes up, we knock it down. Every time something comes up, we knock it down. And notice I said we. See, this is a walk. And it takes more than just the Most High. It takes you and him. So you two have to line up daily. You have to line up hearing his voice and walking it out. See, you're actually his hands and his feet, his eyes, and his brain. But you have to submit your brain to his. You have to have his thoughts. You have to have his ways. And if they're so much higher than yours, you got to come up. Because he's not going to come down. And coming up means simply you going down. In all actuality. Submitting yourself unto him, and he will lift you up in due season. But it's all about a walk, and keeping that walk perfect, as perfect as you can before the Most High. And I will share the verse that we went over yesterday. And it may be one you would really much help you in the goings on today. And that's Psalms 37. Fret not because of evildoers. Powerful script. I highly recommend you reading the whole thing in your secret place today. Okay, let's get it. I don't think I want any parts of that field today. Just like right here is real grassy. Well, the old grass is sticking up and it get on them legs and itch like that. So we're gonna walk on the walk, or on the bike trail, or the walking trail. The greenway. Yes, indeed. What's your angle? And it may be a good question to ask yourself. What's really my angle? What's really important to me in this relationship? What am I after in this relationship? Is this a selfish endeavor on my part? Am I giving the Most High my time only to get something from him? Just like the script says, he tries the heart. He looks at our hearts. So he already knows. Just as I've been saying of late, we have conversations with him and we want to do all the talking, get up and leave. But forgetting that he already know what you're going to be saying in the first place, or what you're going to say. But the most important part of the conversation is what he has to say. What's on his heart, what's on his mind about the situation. And see, I think what'll solve a lot of our problems is how we look at this relationship. I guess like we were saying today, looking at our own angle, how we see the relationship, and our overall goal for it. And with that said, I think we need to look at it for what it is. He's our Father. He created us. And I think the more we look at it like that, and approaching him like that, as a loving father, as someone that's always watching and care for you, and has your best interests at heart, somebody took the boo-boo bag and threw it on the ground. Why would you do that? You're supposed to pick up the boo-boo with the bag and transport it and the bag to the trash can. So I say ain't want to walk across no grass because it's wet. Semi-wet. Yes, indeed. So that is a good question. What's your angle? And I guess you can say all together pretty much what I just said. How do you look at the Most High? Do you look at him as God? Some million, billion miles away individual, entity, power, and like some people call him, the higher power. Yes, he's the Most High. He's elevated. He's in that place of authority, the highest place, looking high and sitting high and looking low. But as he says in the text, he's as close as the next breath. He said that we are his temple. He abides in us. He actually dwells inside of us. He's the treasure we have in these earthly vessels, in these jars of clay, as the text says. See, I think a whole lot of our relationships would change instantly if we just look at him differently. Because it's all about perception. I heard somebody say that before. It's all about your perception, how you perceive a matter. And it's also how people perceive you, how they see you. But what's your angle? And I know I started off with what's your motivation? What's your hustle? But we have to let the Most High direct the conversation, the ideas, the thoughts. See, I said something the other day about the Most High can see ahead of us and see what's coming around the corner when we can't. See, he already knows what's coming around the corner. See, he has a better viewpoint. He has a better angle. See, he's not sitting around the corner like us. See, he's sitting on top of the situation looking down. So he sees everything. And see, I think if we really took into account that he sees everything, it'll change our outlook. It'll actually change how we approach him and life situations. See, that's just like with that recording yesterday, which I was somewhat aggravated I lost. But see, I had to look at what the script says. He makes all things work together for my good. See, we think we're putting out a certain amount of good, but he says, no, I have better. And see, that's what I want. I want the better. I want the best. And see, we always can't get the best when we're looking at it from our vantage point or vantage points. See, a lot of times we think we're on top of a situation. Get it? On top of a situation. But we still can't see everything like we think we can. Just because we think we're in full control. We done dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's in our mind's eye. But in reality, we still don't know it all. We're still missing something. And see, that's where I find myself every day. I don't want to miss the mark. I only want to do my best, but I want to bring my best to the table. We're going to get on this bike. Get us 7 or more miles in. Finishing strong for the week. We're gonna take it to the highs.